this is, I think probably for everybody's grandmother, this is One Old Woman Keeps Rocking. Though grandmother gets nowhere for all the energy she expends, the good woman cannot stop rocking. Pliant wood slats below her vast posterior long ago accommodated themselves to her tempo, her perseverance, to her utter dismay. When the old lady slows, spotting the first green and yellow flush of seasonal daffodils, edging through the muddy straw by the bottom stair, she breathes in sharply, throwing back her head. At last, she bellows, fall is in the air. No one corrects her. Grandmother's sense of the tragic is too well developed. The dear one refocuses now, tapping on the arm of her chair. Rising on the upstroke, she pauses mid-stride, then listening to the board's reply, Granny grips tight, turns from us all, and flies away. Thanks. This is called 32 Automatic. It's a poem. Is there anybody here from the Emory Society? Those are wonderful people. Yes. James, good to see you. This is just coming out in the next issue of Emory's. It's called 32 Automatic. She realizes now she might have gone on forever without it. The arrival of intimacy. This flushed, obsessive, uninvited guest, taking her by surprise in what she thinks of as her 32nd year. When she least expects it, when she drops her well-toned guard, forgetting what intimacy itself has come to know about survival, something surprising goes off like a small caliber handgun in her chest, leaving little evidence of its devastation, except perhaps a certain gentleness, deft notes, killer gifts, a full clip of caresses as her ventricles open and shut like sprung gates. It's a difference. My wife and I were in London on September 11th, 2001. I was actually doing some work with UK Special Forces, and so there was a whole lot of irony in my being over there in London doing counterterrorism kind of work. I was with Special Operations Command at the time. And so those kinds of, crazy juxtapositions in time have always intrigued me. And the name of this poem is called News of Flight 93. It's one of the airplanes that didn't get quite as much press as the ones that went into the tower in the Pentagon. News of Flight 93. Even before her corsage, his father's cougar, that spray of lavender on his white sport coat, there was hope. Well before their first night, their fumbling uncertainty, there was faith. Blind hope and ruthless faith that one school dance would lead to another date, to a country drive, to a kiss, a promise, a ceremony, to that one perfect photo of two families joined by some quintessential sacrament. 13 years later, after failing at children, after losing and finding their way, filling nearly 5 photo albums at the game, at the beach, at rest at home, all the times content to be alone, collecting so many small and smaller things that in some way defined them, they took their first-class seats together. Their friends speak of it as tragic, confirm it all as bad timing, decry the ill fortune, the spin of the finicky wheel. Their loss calls us to question what we mean by fate, by nothing more than happenstance, impartial as Pennsylvania sunlight. My brother has gone back, he's the eternal student, he's gone back to grad school again. Incredibly, he has 2 master's degrees, and now he's gone to divinity school, so go figure. Anyway, he's studying Paul, and I thought that was interesting because Paul wrote all these letters. As you know, the Corinthians, the Romans, the Galatians, he never stopped writing letters, and I thought, did anybody ever write back? So, I thought I would find out, and so the name of this poem is How One Corinthian Came to Respond. I suppose we owe you an apology, Paul. Looking through my notes now, my God, it's been years since you stopped by to chat, to instruct us all about our lives and how women should wear their hair. Several of us are confused. What about shampoo? Write back and tell us what to do. Wait, One might check with the Ephesians on that one, Paul, though Asia Minor is such a schlep. We don't have phones yet, you know. It's not the long haul that wears me down, but all these men. Sheesh, I'm out of pep. Are you sure about multiple wives? I don't mean to misconstrue. Write back and tell us what to do. Some Greeks came by the other day, several of them bearing gifts. Nothing we could use. Myrrh. Come on, who uses myrrh? They said you'd been in jail in Rome. Some tiff involving evolution and creationism. For me, it's all a blur. So listen, Paul, where do we stand on missing links? You last blew through in 52. Write back and tell me what to think. Sue and I'm bringing my wife into this a lot because I'm grateful that she came with me in the wintry evening. We were in New York City in October, and I thought, well, you go ahead and shop. I'm just going to sit down here in Macy's and see if I can write down something that I can make into a poem or a short story or something. So this is called Searching for Leather Goods and Sundry Delectables in Herald Square. Finding yourself precisely in the center of America's first city and this grand storied store, feeling as out of place as any 60-plus pensioner, with no idea how a BlackBerry works, among thousands of teens on the games and electronics floor, you look for a place to sit, make a few notes toward what might become a decent poem while she angles past the crammed counter with long fall coats, to the aisle with red bags boasting large brass buckles. Seeking something less brash but not passé, not totally yesterday, when you spot a table that, while it doesn't truly beckon, it just might serve as a place to nibble a croissant and rest while the little woman works the snaps and straps of dozens of coaches and countless darling Dooney Burkes. And perhaps you might be able to scribble a few ideas that could just hold up if you don't collapse first, and the lines themselves might, if they tried, lead somewhere fine once you'd be gone, only to tell yourself, no, wait, hold on. Perhaps the table you are sitting at is indeed the wrong one, because the truly good ideas, the once and forever tropes, are waiting for you right over there at the table where one old woman who just left was sitting alone, keeping herself a museful kind of company, reading a book by Proust about all he remembered of home, a table no one has as yet cleared, her nearly empty coffee cup holding precisely the correct amount of aphorism, a dollop of unbridled insight, that single necessary taste of unsweetened simile. Does anybody have questions about purgatory? I mean, who doesn't, right? So this is, of course, called Questions About Purgatory. Are all the souls languishing down there poor because they have no disposable dough, no coin for a crumpet, a cup of joe, or because they've no pockets to hold a few dimes? Could they be mostly poor judges of fate, of diet and moderate exercise? How many would say they had picked the wrong mate? Are the souls in that waiting room keen to be sprung by Catholic prayer and timely pence? Or have some few settled in nicely now, a hot property, a killer view? Are they Gentile? Are they Jew? One more. I'm attracted to things that have to do with music from the 40s. I don't know why, but anyway, this one will probably announce itself to you as to what song I might have had in my head. This is Difficulties to Report about that old tune of ours. One of the places I'll not be seeing you is at the chestnut tree. It's gone, my beau. You know, that killing blight so many years back? No? Well, it was in all the papers. Kind chestnut tree, mon ami. Yet another place I'd otherwise love to see you, and true, it would surely qualify as an old familiar place, is the park across the way, also next to the cafe. No, this heart of mine will not be embracing any such space. Brace yourself for this one. Ed's used cars bought the land where the chestnuts went extinct, and, let me think, oh right, he raised the park and covered up the wishing well. Of course, the band we danced to is long dead. Ed had nothing to do with their passing or with the crumbling carousel. Everything falls apart, old age. Strange how nothing stays the same, isn't it? This is not to say that I don't hope to see you. I do, either in the morning sun or when the night is new. So much depends upon conditions. Musicians back then made it seem so easy. It's not. Honest, I'll be looking at the moon when it's somewhat opportune.